to the Alumni Podcast. Joining us today is Mario Siller, former ToastMasters President. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about what you've been up to?
Sure. I am currently the Public Affairs Communications Coordinator for the San Antonio River Authority. So basically, in essence, what that means is I'm in charge of all our social media, digital media, and some of the ads that you see on Meta and anything in between. And I'm also the liaison for the Watershed Park Operations Team, which that pretty much is the team that manages 238 miles of the San Antonio River. And I'm also the liaison for the recreational team who puts on events throughout the year at our various locations and parks.
That's amazing. That's a really busy job.
Yeah.
That's a lot of different things. Would you like to start us off with the JAG question?
Sure, let's get into it. Let's see. Okay, let's see what the question is. Wow. What was your favorite class during your time as a student? Wow, that's an interesting question because I could try to go the fun route because I definitely have that in mind, but I would have to say, I can also do the personal growth route, but I would have to start with probably the fun class that I had that was most memorable, and I think I had this professor for numerous classes because my degree field was marketing, was Dr. Baruka's class. I had several marketing classes with him, and I always felt like there was certain energy that he brought to every single one of his classes, and the engagement, I felt like the engagement was a lot higher in his classes versus other classes that I typically had, and it was fun engagement. Like, he encouraged just playful engagement where there was really no wrong answers, and that's one thing that I really felt was memorable from the experiences that I had in his classes.
That's amazing. I think it's really important to feel comfortable to share, and especially share your own creative twist in class like that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's one thing that you definitely said that right there was inspiring that creativity, where sometimes a lot of us are shy regardless of what age we are when we come to school. We're shy to be creative, and just allowing ourselves to be creative and trusting ourselves to be creative in that process is really nice to be able to feel, especially when it's coming from your professor.
Of course, I think even the fact that you're in a class, it can motivate you to be more creative if you're surrounded by other creative people.
Yeah, for sure. I always love hearing people's ideas and just thinking like, I never would have thought of that, and just hearing their perspective and how it can change how you might present an idea in the future.
Yeah. So you were also part of the American Marketing Association.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me about that?
Sure. So I at least got to preface this with saying that I'm not a club guy.
Okay.
I've never been a club guy, even in high school. I was in band, which that wasn't a club, but I was never a club guy. It just wasn't my thing. I wasn't in student council, none of that stuff. But it changed when I came to Musa, when I came to Texas A&M San Antonio. And it was people that approached me in wanting to be a part of this club. And for the marketing club, the people that approached me were some of the best marketing students in my class. They kept coming up to me and saying, "Hey Mario, are you gonna get into the marketing club?" And I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm not a club guy, dude. I don't do that. I'm not gonna get involved. I'm here to go to school," and that was my mission. I didn't want to get involved in clubs. But I respected these classmates so much, and the work that they produced and their demeanor and their passion, that I had to at least open my mind and open up the idea of, let's see what this club is all about. And let me just go see what they're doing. And the first thing that I noticed was you're surrounded by the best students that you have in your classes, currently have in your classes. You're surrounded by the most impressive people on campus and the most creative people on campus. And just all that was inspirational enough to me where I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna join this club. And I remember telling my wife, hey babe, I think I'm gonna join this marketing club that's at Texas A&M. And she's like, what? A marketing club? What's happening to
She's
you?
like, who are you?
Who are you? Yeah, I've never heard you be so involved. And quickly, when I first got involved in the marketing club, they were looking for officers, and they just wanted to give me a title. And I'm like, all right, I'll be the treasurer. That sounds like the easiest job that's here. And if you guys need any help with anything else, I'm here, to be your right wing person. But that's how I got involved, and that's how I became an officer for the marketing club. And it was just great, just being involved with whatever the benefits that had to offer, whether it was internal, where we were speaking amongst ourselves and creative ideas, projects that we had going on, sharing current projects where we needed help with, a little bit of deeper insight. No offense to family and friends, but these are the people you really wanted some input from. And the fact that it was there at arm's length was really a nice luxury to be able to have, to say that, I'm rubbing elbows with some of the best students that understand what I'm going through at the moment, and I need their fresh perspective. I would like to have their fresh perspective on another project that I'm working on. And just that alone really felt like I instantly felt the benefits of being in that club. And along with, being a part of Toastmasters as well, it was one of those clubs that really helped shape my perspective on what a club was, and a perspective of what it was like to be a club member, because now I'm a club member. And yeah, I'm just very grateful that I kept an open mind.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful that the right people approached me at the right time, where I gave it a chance, and I got more involved.
I'm glad your perspective changed on clubs. It looks like it really helped you. And you're right, I think it's a sense of community where you meet other people like you, and you really get that help from others who almost have a similar mindset.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like anything else. It's like hanging out with some great musicians. You just vibe off of each other, and you inspire each other, and just you really, that's when you really discover who you are, especially as a teammate and another club member. You really kind of discover other talents that you probably didn't know you had.
I'm sure. I've heard about that. You also mentioned you were in Toastmasters, and I don't know what that is. Can you elaborate?
All right, I get to educate someone on Toastmasters. So basically, Toastmasters, it's always funny because when we used to table events here on campus, I know it sounds terrible, but people would always think, they would walk up and they would see Toastmasters and they would think we were a drinking club. That was the first thing. It was like, cool, a drinking club on campus. And I'd have to explain, it's like, no man, it's the public speaking club. And as soon as I would tell them it was a public speaking club, their demeanor would completely change and they would just walk away. So basically, in essence, Toastmasters is a public speaking club. It's a public speaking club where it's tailored in a way where it's a comfortable environment for you to be able to become a better public speaker. So you'll have people in the club that'll evaluate your speeches and help you get better as you progress. And it's I think the great benefit of being in Toastmasters when you're a student is that you can use your current projects and whatever you're going to be public speaking, which is basically speaking and presenting on your projects, you can use those as your project for Toastmasters, where when you're outside of school, you're having to work on speeches. And I mean, you got to be really motivated to work on speeches and presentations outside of school just for fun. And that's one thing I have found, the difference of being in Toastmasters as a student versus being a Toastmasters not as a student, as a non-student, is just the effort it took to having to create speeches and having to keep that going versus, and when you're a Toastmasters as a student, you have so many presentations going on where you're like, okay, what kind of speech is going to need to be? Well, I'll just use this class. And what kind of speeches? I'll just use this class. And that's kind of how I used Toastmasters, was just preparing for any type of presentations or any type of public speeches that I needed to do. And I guess hearing that positive feedback and hearing some of the encouragement that I needed on something I needed to work on really helped me develop the confidence that I needed to be a better public speaker. I was always pretty decent, at public speaking, but I had been out of school for so long that I had to, the first time I did a presentation for school, I was super, super nervous. And I had never felt that before. I had never felt sweaty before. I had never felt my heart just pumping out of my chest. And that's when I quickly realized this Toastmasters Club could be beneficial to me. And I have to say, once again, with the marketing club, these two clubs really helped change my life as far as how confident I was in presenting any material and how confident I was being a leader in any of my group in the group setting.
Yeah. So you were actually vice president of public relations, and then you became president.
Yes. So instantly, as soon as this happened fast. So this was like my first meeting. They needed officers, and they looked at me like to be the president, and I'm like, this is my first meeting. I'm not going to be the president of anything. I'm not even a club guy. You're lucky I'm here. And I was like, fine, I'll do vice president of public relations. What does that entail? Fine, I'll do it. Reluctantly, I did it. But it's like anything else. You just have to embrace it, embrace the challenge, and really dig deep and see who you are. And I had been in that role. I got the confident when the opportunity came available to become a president. I was confident enough to be able to take that new role on.
That's amazing. What was your experience like at Tumusa? How did you start here, and then how did you develop?
So I'll give you a quick little background of who I was before. So I was a small business owner, or still am. My wife and I own a candle company here in San Antonio. So we would do a lot of tabling events. Everything was all made locally, made small batches and whatnot. So I had been doing events for at least a decade. So I had been in that business environment for a very long time. And I knew that I wanted to get a degree in business. I just didn't know where to go and how to start it. I had been out of school for so long. And I decided to go back in 2016. I decided to go back, and that's when I started at San Antonio College. Knocked out a few classes I needed to knock out, and it was, of course, the decision of coming to Texas A&M, San Antonio, or going to UTSA. And I kind of felt like UTSA was just a little too much for me, too big, and I felt like this was more of a fit for me. My father and I love visiting the missions. That's one of our favorite hobbies, and this felt like a mission when I came here. And then, of course, I embraced the campaign at the time was we were on a mission, and it just felt right. It just felt right from the beginning, and so that's how I was able to come into my journey at Texas A&M San Antonio. And even when I started here, I was super nervous. I was taking 12 hours at San Antonio College and several semesters before, but when I started here, I only took 2 classes because I hadn't been in a university setting in a very long time. I was super nervous, and I only started with 2 classes here just because I didn't want to mess it up. And luckily, I was able to catch stride and, of course, take my full load from semesters at that point on. But, yeah, it was just an amazing journey, just being able to meet the people that I met here at Texas A&M San Antonio, the professors that I still continue to have communication with and relationships with, that has really kind of helped me maintain the confidence even in the position that I have now. But yeah, it was just it was an amazing journey. Like I said, even preparing for this podcast with you, just reflecting on how much my journey here at Texas A&M San Antonio has influenced my personal life in such a positive way. Even the time that I was here, I officiated a wedding when I was here. Never would have had the confidence to officiate a wedding without that Toastmasters Club. I mean, I have to be honest. And even when my friends asked me if I would officiate their wedding, I'm like, how many people are going to be there? I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to do that. That makes me a little nervous. But then I quickly realized just how precious of this ask of my friends, and I took it on and said, you know what, I'll knock this out for you. I'll just I'll make some more speeches and get prepared for this. So it definitely propelled me in the right direction where I took chances and a leap of faith of trusting myself and trusting my skills from what I acquired here at Texas A&M San Antonio.
That wedding sounds like a story.
Oh, it was this wedding was for my friends Patrick and Christine, and it was on the Arneson stage there on the Riverwalk at La Villita. So yeah, I think they had like about 150 plus people at this wedding, and yeah, it was absolutely beautiful, beautiful wedding. Yeah, it was
That's
incredible.
insane. You really just took on that.
Yeah, and I really dove into it too. Like I know it sounds funny, but I even took lessons on how to be an officiant from the officiant that married my wife and I. And yeah, I took several classes with him, and it's a really mental preparation for it because you're in a sea of emotions when you're in front of so many people and you're witnessing such a precious moment that my friend Alejandro Cifuentes, who's a local artsmith here in San Antonio, jewelry maker here in San Antonio, he was advising me. It's like, you really got to be mentally prepared because it can get emotional. It's a sea of emotions. Everybody's crying. People are crying. And you can really get caught up in that. And that is some of the best advice that he was able to give me, is just to mentally prepare for that moment, because you want to be strong for the people that are around you.
Right. That's fun. I don't know, that sounds fun. How much time did you have to prepare for that?
They gave me quite a bit of time. So I think we really started digging deep into it, like who was going to be part of the wedding party, and the layout and everything, probably about 6 months or so before into it. And we had several, I guess, meetings or sessions that we would have where I would ask them questions, we would go over their vows, and just really making sure that they felt like this was 100% tailored to just them.
Yeah, I think it's really important to make sure everyone feels special about it.
Yeah, it was a beautiful moment in time.
So now you are with the San Antonio River Authority. Can you tell me about that?
Sure. So, I mean, I guess overall, my job entails is, I can say social media is really the main day-to-day, but I guess really my main pride that I carry from working at the San Antonio River Authority is I really feel that we're doing good in the community. We're doing great things in the community as far as educating people about their waterways, making sure that people have safe, clean, and enjoyable water for generations to come. But one of the things that I really pride myself in is my father was involved with water conservation like through all my life. He was on the Water Conservation Board in Frio County where I grew up. So it was a real special moment when I got hired on at the San Antonio River Authority. He was super proud that I was even working for a water entity. And so I think that was a special family moment for all of us. But it really is. It's such a fun job. I can't begin to tell you how much of a fun job it is. Like every aspect of my job, I really, really enjoy it, from being creative and creating social media posts and looking at the analytics to see how everything performed, bragging about my coworkers. That's really what I do. I tell everyone, like, go check out our social media page. This social media page is about y'all. It's not about me. I don't talk about me at all. I do nothing but brag about y'all. So I love being able to brag about others and some of the efforts that they're putting forth. And I think that's one of the things that I really pride a lot with the job that I do on social media. And even working with the recreational team, being a part of some amazing events that we do. We do free fishing clinics. We're going to do this event in the holidays called Holly Jolly Kayaking, which it's free kayaking on the Museum Reach area. So you typically can't ever kayak in the Museum Reach, but for 2 nights, we offer free kayaking for people that sign up. The Riverwalk is all lit up. It is absolutely beautiful. But we do events like that all throughout the year. We have an event coming up in Helton in October. That it's going to be an amazing event that we do every single year. So I really like the fact that I'm a part of all that. So whenever I go to these events and I work these events and I look at all the signage, I was like, wow, I orchestrated all this stuff where the guys asked for certain signage. I relayed that information to my graphics team. They created the graphics. We went back and forth on the edits, and we put it up on social. We ran a few ads on social, creating a few meta ads, putting some other ads out on different platforms as well, and just seeing how it all performed, just getting the momentum going for those events. And of course, having the debrief afterwards. But yeah, like I said, I love tabling events too. Like I get to give, like even today, we did Historic Plaza Days there at Main Plaza. I'm here tabling an event, talking to the community about the San Antonio River, and I get to hear the chimes of the San Fernando Cathedral. Bexar County City Hall is right behind me. Just the most picturesque thing you can even imagine. Have an amazing, guitar player, Chris Cuevas playing in the background. I just feel so lucky. I just feel so lucky being able to be in this position where I can honestly say every aspect of my job, I sincerely enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it really shows. You seem very happy talking about it. And you seem to have a really deep connection because it was something similar to what your father did. And then I think it's really cool to analyze all of the work behind the digital marketing.
Yeah, and I think it's great to analyze because that way you understand really what your audience is telling you, because that's really what analytics is doing. It's telling you what your audience is either engaging with, what they're reflecting on, and what's working and what's not working. Mm-hmm. And the benefit that we have as marketers is being able to read all these analytics and tell that story to the people who really don't understand all those numbers. And it's really up to us to be able to break down and decipher that and put it in layman's terms so they'll understand and be able to make smart business decisions. Also, it's our duty, I guess, to be able to tell people when you do show them the analytics, as overwhelming as it may be, just to tell them, hey, look, let's keep this real simple. We're going to walk into a room that's going to have 100 buttons everywhere. I'm going to show you the 10 most important buttons that we need to pay attention to, or analytics that we need to pay attention to. Mm-hmm. This is all we need to worry about right now. As you start to understand these analytics, you're going to start to ask more questions. That's where we'll start to introduce the other analytics as we go along, because now you're starting to understand the story that these analytics are telling you. So I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that you come back at me soon with more questions. That way we start to roll in more analytics, so we'll be able to tell a larger picture of what's really happening with our digital efforts.
Wow, that is a process.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's a process that's like I said, that you just got to be mindful and try to balance it all. Because if you really can, you can dive in analytics and be lost in there all day. And you got to be able to know when just to call time out and say, hey, what are we really looking for? What are the most important KPIs that will help us meet our objectives or tell the story of what's happening with our objective, and leave it at that.
I'm sorry, you said KPI. What is that?
A KPI. So that is a key performance indicator. So typically when you have that room full of 100 buttons, the KPIs are going to be those 10 most important analytics that you're really paying attention to. What's the most, there's 100 analytical pieces, but what's the most important thing to you? And those are going to be considered your key, your KPIs.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, no worries at all.
Also, you make candles, right?
Yes, I sure do.
Can you tell me about that?
Sure. So that was kind of an interesting way how we even got into that. So back when my wife and I first got together, she presented this idea that she
wanted to do something creative. She wanted to make something with her hands. And I know we were going through this, I think it was like 2009, we were going through a little bit of a recession. And so her thought was, I want to be able to make something that we can give out as gifts, for the holidays. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know what that is. What is that? So she's like, I've always wanted to learn how to make candles. And at first I was like, candles? I really sound like, Mario, chill out. Think about it. I'm like, you've always liked candles. It's okay to admit it. It's okay that, you got a softer side. It's okay that you say you like candles. So I said, okay. And we had just started dating. So I was like, you don't want to kill this from the beginning. You want to let this bloom. So I said, you know what? Let's do some research and let's see where we land as far as what kind of wax we're going to use, what fragrances, yada, yada. So we do a little bit of research. We come back, a meeting of the minds about a week later. And we say, this is the wax that I think we should go with. This is the fragrances. Yeah, what do you got? We started going through our list, and we're like, all right, we got some of the same ones. All right, well, seems like we're on the right track. And we place an order. And all the candle supplies are still on the UPS truck. I have not received anything yet. So this happened really, really fast. There was one of my wife's coworkers had free concert tickets for that weekend, and she asked my wife, do you want these tickets? And my wife's like, no, we have something going on. She's like, oh, okay, what do you have going on? Like, it was like an amazing concert. She couldn't believe that my wife turned him down. And, well, what do you have going on? It's like, oh, me and Mario are working on something. It's a little special project. She's like, oh, okay, well, what? She's like, no, nothing. We're just working on something. She kept prying on it. She's like, we're making candles this weekend. It just so happened that marketer had just left Yankee Candle. She was looking for candles and was totally upset because she was going to place a large order of candles, and they didn't want to give her any discount. So she asked, how much will you make 100 candles for me for? And so she's calling me at home or calling me at work and telling me, hey, LV at work here wants to know how much you'll make 100 candles for. What's the price? And I'm like, whoa, time out. Why are you telling anyone we're making candles? I haven't even made a candle. Like, I don't even know if it's gonna work. What are you doing? Like, no, this is not good. Like, I don't feel good about this. And then she tells me, well, she doesn't need them for another 2 months. So I'm like, okay, that's still not making me feel confident. And so I thought, I just found a way to help this solve itself. I'm going to pitch this a little high, so she'll be like, you're crazy. I'm not paying that. You're crazy. So I send off the invoice that I created. And my wife calls me back within 10 minutes, 15 minutes. She said she'll have the check for you today at 5. Oh my goodness. Are you freaking kidding? So we're making candles now? She goes, well, yeah. Oh my God. Okay, well, I hope I can make a candle. We're going to see if we can make candles. And luckily, we were able to get our first candle made, and successfully it burned okay. Everything was good. But at that point, we're like, we have to come up with a name, Let's come up with a name. I don't want a candle to go out with no name on it. So that's where we came up with the name Karma Candle Makers, because we were like, why is this happening? Why is this happening to us? Is it good karma? Like, I mean, we're good people, right? We're all questioning ourselves. We're good people. Like, I think
reflecting.
Exactly. Like, was I good today? And like, we're good people, right? And we're like, yeah, I think this is just good karma coming our way. And so that's the way we felt, where we were good karma making candles. So we're just karma candle makers. So that's the way we kind of felt was the name was very fitting. Yeah. And that's how it all started. And we did mostly just to family and friends for like the first year and a half, and did a lot of testing and research and development throughout that entire time. and seeing what was our popular sellers, what wasn't selling, and but I can't take credit for. I mean, I can't take credit for my candle making skills. I really feel that I was fortunate to be at the right place at the right time. I just so happened to call our wax supplier on the weekend or after hours, and a gentleman answered, and we quickly got in a really great conversation. And little did I know, he was the owner and also the inventor of soy wax. So I was on the phone with so anything you see soy wax on the planet, this guy is the inventor of soy wax. He owned the patents, he owned everything. And we quickly became friends. And he started asking me, Mario, what kind of wicks are you using? And I told him what wicks I was using. He's like, I've made more than 1 million candles. You need to get these wicks. Call this place, ask for so-and-so, here's his number. Who's your fragrance supplier? So-and-so. So I was like, you can do better. Here's so-and-so, tell them I sent you, there's their number. And he just kept going down the line of who are you using, what kind of colors you getting from, or where's your coloring, where you get that from. And he was just so nice and helped me along the way. And even when I called those manufacturers that he recommended, a lot of those manufacturers like, you must, how many candles do you sell a year? You must be a huge manufacturer. I'm like, I probably sell like 3, 4, 5,000 candles a year. He's like, wait, what? How did you get my number? Like, we normally deal with large manufacturers, like huge manufacturers. How many wicks are you looking for? And I'm like, 1,000 wicks? And they're like, we sell in batches of 10,000 wicks or 50,000 wicks. I'm like, oh my. He goes, okay, tell you what, we're going to take care of you. Let me send you to one of my sales reps. And we normally don't do this, but you are a friend of a friend. We'll take care of those smaller batches for you. And that's the way it kind of just fell into place. And I really felt lucky that, and I feel fortunate. That's kind of been the story of my life, where I've just been at the right place at the right time and caught people on good days, and were just willing to help me out like that. So I've had a lot of friends tell me throughout the years, like, Mario, I've tried making candles, and I couldn't do it. Your candles are freaking incredible. And I'm like, I had a lot of help. I had a lot of help along the way to help it be what it is today. And like I said, I was very, very fortunate that I caught people on a good day at the right time.
Yeah, that was the story. That's so cool.
Yeah, and it led, even that, like, I played disc golf, frisbee golf. I'm a big disc golfer. And even that, like, my candle making, I was on a disc golf team, which was nationally sponsored by a disc golf team, which I was on the Twisted Flyer team. And on top of that, I made candles for world champions of disc golf. Like, I was making them custom candles with their name on them, their signatures, everything. We were doing marketing for disc golfers that I was making candles for. So even that, like, mind-blowing, I made candles for bands here in town, some of my friends, Buttercup, they were asking for a custom candle. We made custom candles for them as well. So that was always nice for people to reach out wanting something custom from us, that we were able to provide for them, just a different twist on what they were able to offer for their customers, and just take us along for the ride.
That's really cool, huh?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing to just be able to have those opportunities.
Oh, you really have all these different opportunities with these candles. Do you have a favorite scent?
Okay, so this is funny. Yes, I do have a favorite scent. My favorite scent out of everything that we make is green clover and aloe. And that would be, a lot of people would always laugh at this because we would have a little tag that's called Chandler's Favorite. And they would always think my name was Chandler. And they're like, no. What Chandler is it's just a word it's a smashed up word, a mashed up word that is for candle handler, chandler. So that's really all it is the chandler is the guy who's making the candles. So yeah, my favorite fragrance would be green clover and aloe, but I think that was always really funny as people would be like, who's Chandler? Are you Chandler? I'm like, no, I'm the candle maker. That's what they call a candle maker. That's my favorite out of everything we make. But our best seller was bestseller for like 9 years in a row was a fragrance called Pear Spice. And that was by far our bestseller. But then Fiesta Sangria, which was our Fiesta fragrance, that started to take over. So for the last couple of years, Fiesta Sangria has been the top fragrance.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You should wear a name tag with that.
With the Fiesta Sangria scent.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for current students or marketing students or someone who's wanting to be an entrepreneur?
Yes. So, wow, I give a lot of advice here. So we'll start with advice as a student. So advice as a student, I would say be ready to embrace the leadership role. And what I mean by that is you embracing that leadership role starts with you walking onto campus. As soon as you walk onto campus, you may not feel like you're a leader because you feel like you haven't earned anything, but the fact that you're taking those steps forward, you're now a leader within your family, you're now a leader within your friends, you're now a leader within your colleagues. And you have to embrace that because people are going to be looking at you for advice and going to be looking at you to just help navigate them. And that's one of the big things one of the biggest advice I always tell people is just embrace that leadership role and be ready to get involved. Like any other relationship that you're going to have in your life, it really comes down to how involved you are in that relationship, how well you communicate in that relationship, and also being creative and having an open mind, having an open heart when you are trying to get more involved. And like the same way I got involved with the clubs, I'm not a club guy, but I was inspired to open up my mind to the opportunity, and that was the best thing that I ever could have done. Other than, coming to this university, I feel like if I would have gone to UTSA, I would have sat in the back row. I would have probably tried to hide. That's what I feel. And coming to Texas A&M San Antonio, I feel like I was really propelled to be in the spotlight. People saw that in me, and it kind of ignited that fire where, you know what, Mario, you're a leader, embrace it, and just take that responsibility and earn it. And that's some of the best advice I can give to people as well is be involved, be engaged. There's so many clubs here on campus. I don't even know how many there are after I have left, but there was tons whenever I was here, and that was in 2019. I can only imagine how many clubs there are here. Find one, find two. You're going to quickly realize that these are going to be all the top students that you have in your classes. They're going to be inspirational for you, and these people are going to become your friends because those are the people that I still communicate with now. It's not all my classmates. It's the people I was in the clubs with. They were my classmates, but it took it to another level. So that's the advice that I have for being a student is embrace that leadership role, get involved, get engaged, and enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment while you're here. It's not going to last forever, and you want to make sure you reflect on your best work while you were here. As far as advice being an entrepreneur, be creative. Number one thing is be creative. You can look at other businesses that are going to be similar to what you're looking for to get some inspiration, but make sure that whatever you put out is going to be something that's going to reflect who you are. It's still going to be a piece of you. And you want to make sure that it's fun, because once it stops being fun, it really takes that drive out of you to be that entrepreneur for that particular field or that particular product or service that you're offering. So just make sure you stay true to yourself, stay authentic in your voice. invest in your brand. I can't begin to tell you how much I see that happening in the real world, where I'm doing this, I'm doing consulting, or I'm doing this, and they don't invest in their website, they don't invest in their business card layout, and you see a lot of these different hiccups. And if I'm supposed to trust you to give me marketing advice, you need to be polished. You really need to be super, super polished to the point where you would inspire me to get to that level. And I don't see enough small businesses invest in themselves early enough, and that really affects your confidence. It's going to affect your sales. And easiest way I would tell people as well is the level of branding that you have establishes the trust with anyone that either comes to your table. So if you want to get that premium dollar, you want to get top price, you got to make sure you earn it. And that comes down to the look and your presentation, how articulate you are behind the table. You're going to get that top dollar, you better perform with your A game.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. You got to match the energy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you got to go where the people are at, and the people are on digital. You can table events as much as you want, but how do you get even people to that event? Through digital. You're all getting them there. So it's a huge aspect that a lot of people tend to forget, that how important that it is to your marketing. Also, another thing that I see that's super detrimental is people don't put any money towards advertising or marketing dollars, and you have to take that into account. Simple ads here and there, just to keep top of mind. You got to keep. I always tell people too, entrepreneur, you got to keep this in mind. You got to make sure you understand the rule of sevens when it comes to marketing. You have to keep that in top of mind. And I'm not sure you're familiar with the rule of sevens. So the marketing rule of sevens is basically this. On average, it takes someone 7 times to see something before they purchase something, before they act on it. And when you think about it, you're like, wait, 7 times? It's like, yeah, let's break that down. How often do you see something for the first time ever? Like, the first time ever, do you go and purchase it?
Not often.
It's not often at all. It's rare, because you're just like, who are you? What is it? I don't know who you are. I don't trust you.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, the next ad comes around that you see. They have a little bit of different picture. It's something that sparks your interest. Now it's a video. And you're like, okay, let me let that 5-second video play. Interesting, that's a nice curling iron. I hadn't really even thought about it. Okay, you're starting to build my trust. And all of a sudden, the third one comes around. It's showing a girl with really pretty hair that she just finished using the product. Impressive. She looked very nicely done. Fourth one comes around. We still haven't even enticed you yet. We still have to get to 7 times before you see this, before we build that trust. So each one of these ads, we have to make sure as a marketer, we do our due diligence to make sure they're different. Because if we run that same ad for 8 weeks, you're going to get creative fatigue, which means people are going to get sick and tired of seeing the same ad from you. If they see the same ad from you more than 1 week, 2 weeks, they're going to unfollow you. Or they're going to be, I don't want to see this ad anymore. I'm tired of seeing it on my feed. So you have to keep it fresh so that way it entices people about your product. So when I tell people about that rule of sevens, they're like, okay, so you're telling me that on average, people are not going to react or do anything until I see them for that, or they see it, my product or service, for the 7th time, and that is correct. That is correct. So, like I said, that's just on average. I can't even remember. I think that's from the movie industry way back in the 1930s, is when they were trying to see how many times do we have to put this in front of people before they take action. And it still holds true today. So a lot of times when people put out 1 ad, 2 ads, 3 ads, it didn't do anything. I mean, you got to give it at least 7, 8, 9, 10 tries, and you got to have an approach where, what am I going to do different with every single one of these ads? What am I going to say differently to build up those trusts? You got to use those trust words, whatever that industry may be, especially in the service industry. If I see a plumber's ad, you got to start with those trust words, honest, dependable, on time, accurate. Without those key words, it's it's hard to build trust on a visual. You know, you're going to build trust on a smile. Good luck. You know, so you got to take all that into consideration, and that's when I used to tell people all the time when I was working with them on their advertising is, guys, you got to give this a chance. You know, you got to give this a chance, and before you really can start to see any actions.
Yeah. No, I didn't know about that. But
Yeah, it's Google it. Like I said, it's
Yeah.
fantastic. It's amazing when you really start to dive into it.
no, yeah, I think it's so true. I started to realize as you said it because it's true. I see something and it's pretty and I might think about buying it, but realistically, I'm not going to buy it unless like I know more about it. And like I need to see how it works and who's used it and why they're using it. So that's so true.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's and there's all different ways to build up trust. It's nowadays where we really start to view that as you'll go to their page, and their page has 4.8, 4.9. You're like, okay. And then you go to their website and you see that they have some stars on there. People have left reviews. It's building trust, building trust, building trust. Where now I'm confident enough to buy it. I'm confident enough to subscribe to your email. I'm confident enough to go back after you give me a 20% off coupon. And that's how you just keep enticing them on how to go back. And then, of course, you got to be mindful, too, when you have any type of e-commerce platform. I love reminding people about this. You have to be mindful of how far people got into the funnel. If they got to your website, how long were they on your website? Were they on there for 1 second, 2 seconds, and then they bounced? You got to change your storefront because you got to put that in perspective. Imagine where we're sitting at right now is a store. We had somebody just walk in right now. They were in here for 2 seconds and then they bounced. You'd be like, whoa. You know how hard it was for me to get somebody to walk through the door? And they bounced after they walked in? Was it my offensive walls? Was it my color? What was it? Was it offensive? Did it smell offensive? Something happened for them to bounce that fast. So you have to take that. What does my landing page look like? Why did they leave so quickly? So that has to be taken into consideration. And you definitely want to be able to put, if you have ads going, that means you have a lot of traffic going to your website. You should be able to change this out every couple of days and then test it. You should be able to see after 4 or 5 different landing pages, one of them is going to perform better than the other. And you start from there and just keep building. And then you also want to take into consideration, okay, they added 1 thing, 2 things to the cart, and then they bounced. Why did they bounce? Why did they leave at that point? And I usually ask the business owner, is that the point where you introduce shipping? And they're like, yeah. What's your shipping? Like right now it's $10 or $15, whatever it may be. I'm like, let's analyze how many people have been doing this. And then you start to realize a trend and you're like, okay, your shipping is it's turning people off with your shipping. You're losing them with your shipping. Out of these 15 people, let's email them with a free coupon or a free shipping coupon code, and let's see if that's what it is. Let's see if that's what if we can get them over that hurdle. Let's see if we could possibly do a free shipping promotion to get over that hurdle. And if it is that free shipping, we need to find a way to either raise your price somehow to incorporate that free shipping, because without that free shipping, people are so accustomed to Amazon or Walmart app where they get free shipping. That might be the case of why they're not purchasing and going all the way through the funnel. So especially with e-commerce, you really have that ability to see how far people made it into the funnel. And once they made it into the funnel, you can now retarget them, because it's like, for instance, you bought a pair of Nikes that were, a green pair of Air Force Ones. And, well, we have 2 groups. We have the group you that purchased them, and then we have the other group that thought about purchasing them, put them in their cart, and whatever they did, they didn't buy them. So with this one, well, we now have the blue ones. So let me send this ad to your feed because you bought the green ones. Let's see what she thinks of the blue ones. Dang it, she didn't buy them. Well, we're still going to keep you in this pool, because if they ever go on sale, you went through this page. We saw you. You went to this page. When we send you this ad, you went to this page 7 times. You really like them. And you went to them spaced out in different intervals. So we kind of know you like them. So do you 20% off like them? And then the people that didn't buy, let's see if they buy it 10% off, 20% off, 30% off. Let's see. We know they're interested because they've gone to this page and they've been there 10 times, 20 times. So that's how you're able to retarget. So anybody that comes into that marketing funnel, every single step of that marketing funnel, you're able to retarget those folks depending on what your end result is. Is it a different color shoes, a different service that you're offering? The last time we had this plumbing service, promotion, X amount of people purchased, X amount of people didn't. You can retarget those people. Now we have a promotion. We already know they were interested. Let's target these rather than targeting a whole bunch of new folks that they don't even know who we are. These people already trust us. They've seen our ads. They've been so close. Let's get them over that line.
Wow. I'm learning a lot. This is great. I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's been fun.
Yeah. Do you have any shout outs you want to give to anyone, organizations, people?
Yeah, I guess if one shout out, it would be to the San Antonio River Authority. I want to tell everybody to make sure you go to our website, go to our events link, and look at our events calendar. We have some amazing events that are happening throughout the year that I would say a majority of all our events, 95% of our events are all free and open to the public. And on top of that, visit some of our parks. A lot of times, people think of the San Antonio River, they think of just the San Antonio River Walk, which is fantastic. It's great. That's where a lot of tourists love to go to that area. But people tend to forget there's 238 miles of the San Antonio River, and we manage the other 238 miles of the San Antonio River. So please go out and visit Museum Reach, which is north of the Riverwalk. South of the Riverwalk is Mission Reach. We have amazing parks all around the San Antonio area and also in our southern basin as well. We have parks in every single one of our counties in our southern basin. Look at our Google reviews. Our Google reviews for our parks are fantastic. Our watershed park operations team are superstars. I have nothing to do with any of that. It's all them, and by looking at the reviews on Google, you can just see how meticulous, and I can definitely preach on that, is how meticulous our parks are. So please go out, venture out to some of our local parks and biking trails, and feel free to come by some of our events. Like I said, we always got amazing events happening throughout the year. And also make sure you follow the San Antonio River Foundation. They're our sister organization that they're in charge of all the public art. So when you go to San Pedro Creek Park and any of these places, Museum Reach, Mission Reach, all the art that you see up, they're pretty much in charge of all the facilitation of how that art even gets created and gets installed as well, and the maintenance of the art. So yeah, definitely make sure you follow those two pages. And big shout out to my public affairs team. They're incredible. They're really, really incredible. They inspire me every day, and I feel lucky to be surrounded by such amazing creatives that I feel helps bring out my creative side. But those are the main shout outs, and of course, shout out to my wife for always being an inspiration, and for my family as well. I think that's what makes me put so much pride behind all my work, is just making sure that I'm making my family name proud.
That's wonderful. It was wonderful meeting you.
Well, thank you so much, Jenifer. It was an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to seeing what holds for you in the future. Like I said, I mentioned to you earlier, I was fortunate enough to meet your sister before, and yeah, you guys are just gonna. I'm sure you will be amazing just as well as she was. And yeah, I look forward to communicating with you in the future. And if there's anything I can ever help you with, you have my information. And if anybody ever needs anything as well, feel free to just send a message on social media. I'm pretty much I'll be able to get a hold of you guys somehow.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all. It was an absolute pleasure. Like I said, I'm honored to be here.
Thanks.